Good morning, Malta and Gozo. This is Bonġu News on Tuesday, the 2nd of May. Former Xagħra Mayor Christian Zammit has explained the reason for his resignation from local council and his Labour Party roles. In order not to get lost in fabricated stories, Zammit offered an explanation on the expression "tolgo il disturbo," getting out of the way, which he used when announcing his resignation on Thursday noon. Zammit said he had not left because he woke up in the morning and decided to do so, adding he had been declaring for several years that the system is sick. "I said this because politics is there to help everyone, not to become a prostitute of big business," the former mayor said on Facebook on Saturday. He asked why the country has not addressed the links between politics and business and why the political system was enabling widespread money laundering. Rubbishing claims he had become a nationalist, Zammit said the PN is rudderless, locked in a clamp of debts and liabilities, and is miles away from my liberal values. He also asked why tens of thousands of voters were fed up with both parties and wanted a third party to rise up and shake up the system. The former mayor said he had not betrayed the Labour Party, adding, "I hope I was an eye-opener and that things that need change will change with this step I took." On Thursday afternoon, Prime Minister Robert Abela said he was seeking to convince Christian Zammit to return to the party and the local council. Well, it's now safe to report that Abela's attempts to persuade the former mayor have failed miserably. Bernhard Grech slammed the Labour government for pigging out on millions of taxpayers' euros and then sending out tax refund cheques. Prime Minister Robert Abela had just announced 26 million euros in tax refunds to workers and pensioners to start being paid next week. Both Grech and Abela were speaking at the Workers' Day activities of their political parties on Monday afternoon. Abela said the time had come for a major reform in planning and construction, further claiming that environment, affordable housing and living standards were Labour's priorities. The meeting took place in Valletta, with a mostly older audience packing the area between the beginning of Republic Street and the City Gate. Similarly, the Nationalist Party's protest in front of the PBS building at Bonġu was mostly attended by supporters from an older demographic. Bernhard Grech said that the Labour government has forgotten the very people it was meant to represent, as record inflation was hitting low-paid workers and pensioners. And Malta's non-parliamentary opposition called on the government to watch consumer prices and for a fair living wage. ADPD commemorated Workers' Day at the farmers' market in Taali on Saturday morning. The Green Party said judicious use of Malta's resources is needed to better address the increase of cost of living. While subsidizing basic energy and water consumption for households was commendable, blanket across-the-board subsidies did not make sense, ADPD said. Deputy Chairperson Sandra Gauci called on the consumers watchdog to carry out spot checks against fantasy prices at retail outlets. The increased prices of daily needs are unbelievable. Every week going to the supermarket is a nightmare, she said. Volt Malta reiterated its call for a fair living wage, fair working hours, safe working standards, and for the fight against exploitation of vulnerable workers. The Maltese branch of the Pan-European Party has long called for a minimum wage of at least 60% of the monthly median wage. That's 1,100 euros. And finally, the weather today. It's a windy start in this short week at 21 degrees. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day.